Welcome, YouTube fans, to Retire in Lake Chapala. We are your #1 go-to source for information about moving to Lake Chapala. As real estate agents, Michaela and I find we get asked the same questions time and time again. So here's a video which answers the most frequently asked questions about the buying process for purchasing residential property in the Lake Chapala area. Can I get a deed to my Mexican home? Yes, virtually all homes at Lakeside are sold with a deed. However, a trust, fideicomiso, could be set up instead through a bank, depending on the buyer's needs and circumstances. Now, there are areas in Mexico where foreign ownership is only allowed by the Mexican government with a fideicomiso trust. And these areas lie within 100 kilometers, 60 miles of any Mexican border, or 50 kilometers, 30 miles of any Mexican coastline. Question: can I will my property to my children or other family members? Yes, just like in Canada and the US, you will get a deed to your property, and with a Mexican will, you can pass your property along to your children. Making a Mexican will is vitally important after the purchase of your property, as your US or Canadian will does not have any power here in regards to distribution of your Mexican property. Not having one could mean that the property could be tied up for years in probate. Upon your death, your beneficiary will be responsible for payment of the appropriate Mexican tax to have the property transferred over to their name. Can I purchase a home on a tourist visa? Yes, you can purchase property in Lake Chapala with a tourist visa. It is possible, however, that rules could change in the future, and purchases may be restricted to buying only with a temporary or permanent visa. Note that when it comes time to sell, a permanent or temporary visa allows you to claim a capital gains exemption, whereas selling with a visitor's visa means you'll be paying 35% capital gains tax. So it pays to think ahead and get your permanent or temporary visa in place for when the day comes that you'll want to sell. Question: can I get a mortgage? All sales are cash only here. So having said that, how can you finance a home if you don't have all the cash? As of 2020, Mexican banks are now offering mortgages, although the interest rates are very high, in the neighborhood of 12 to 14%. Another option is to find a private investor who will loan you the money at about 8 to 12%. In both cases, they can only contribute up to 50% of the purchase price. The lender's name will appear on the deed alongside your name for the amount of money they contribute. And the loan term is commonly 3 to 5 years at a simple rate of interest, payable monthly. Lump sum payments are generally allowed after the first year. Question: how does the purchasing process work? Okay, here we go. So you make an offer and the vendor can either accept or counter offer. The two big playing cards here are usually the price and the closing date. If you receive a counter offer, you can either accept or ignore it. If no deal is reached, you can start over again with a new offer. We always recommend to make an offer to purchase conditional upon a satisfactory home inspection. Once an agreement is made, we help to arrange for a building inspector who will prepare a thorough report for you, listing all deficiencies. This generally costs around $300. If major deficiencies are found in plumbing, electrical, or structural, you can walk away from the deal or renegotiate the price. Once you sign off, i.e. accept the report, you have 3 days to wire the 10% of the sale price for the house, and the home is now officially placed under contract. This initial 10% payment will be held in an escrow account until closing date. 3 days prior to closing, the remaining 90% balance must be an escrow account, and the funds will be appropriately distributed immediately after closing. A few things of note here. If the purchases are made in US dollars, the money is held in a trust account in the United States. If the purchase is made in pesos, the funds are received at a local Mexican bank. Checks are not accepted in either case, as they are not traceable by government agencies. Question: how much are the closing costs and who pays them? Closing costs are between 3 to 4% of the purchase price and are paid by the buyer. These fees cover the government transfer taxes and notary fees. Question: how does the closing date How does the closing take place, and what do I need to bring? The closing takes place in the office of the Notario Publico. The notario is a high-standing lawyer with additional training who works on behalf of the Mexican government. The notario authenticates the seller's right to sell the property, scrutinizes the history of the property for any irregularities, and investigates the deed through appropriate government agencies to ensure it is clear and free of liens. Both parties need to present themselves at the notario's office for the closing. The buyers also need to sign paperwork prior to the closing to allow the notario to collect the tax on their behalf and send it to the government. As you can see, a lot of paperwork is necessary for a successful closing. Question: who selects the notario? Since the buyer pays the property transfer tax and other closing costs, plus the notario's fee, it is the buyer's privilege to select the notario. Question: how long does it take to close from the time when the offer is accepted? From purchasing to closing, the norm is 30 to 60 days. This allows time for an inspection to be performed and the inspection report to be reviewed and accepted, plus all the paperwork and investigation that the notario has to do. Slightly shorter closing times are possible without an inspection, and on occasion, longer closings are selected for specific reasons. So in summary, the current buying process at Lakeside involves finding the property that you like and negotiating a purchase price, setting a closing date, getting a home inspection, get the report of the home inspection, and after you sign off on the report, you have 3 days to wire the initial 10% payment to place the property under contract. Then, as a foreigner, you'll have to sign documents called SREs. These are documents sent to Mexico City, where the government verifies your signature and you as a person, allowing you the right to own property in Mexico. 3 days before closing, you will need to have the balance 90% in the escrow account. On closing day, all parties get together at the notario and documents are signed, and you will be presented with a copy of the deed. Within hours of signing, the realty office will distribute the monies to the vendor and the real estate agents and companies involved. A good real estate company will help you in transferring your name with the local utility company, and approximately 2 to 3 months later, you will receive the original copy of the deed. So there you have it. If you have any questions about this video, please contact us through our website, retireInLakeChapala.net, or our Facebook page, Retire in Lake Chapala, and we'll be happy to help you and answer all your questions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.